Mindful. Thank y'all for tuning in for the chat. What's going on, Mob? Good to see y'all in the chat. Just waiting on our wonderful guest for the evening. OG Brando is in the chat. What's going on? If y'all haven't tapped into EP1, definitely go do that. Powerful interview. Ebony, we are here. All right, let's go ahead and try to get you logged in. What's going on, Chris, man? Long time no see, bro. Hope all is well on your end, for real. RC, thank you for tapping back in. Definitely going to accept this. Working on getting our guest in. Ebony.
Hey.
Awesome. Just real quick before we jump in, everybody, can y'all hear me and Ebony okay? Y'all can see us okay? Please let us know in the chat, and then we will get right into it. Okay, thank y'all for tuning in. I can't hear you anymore. Hey, Latrice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Everybody, are we all good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to just take that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump into it. So, everybody, welcome to episode 3 of For the Soul podcast, where I'm focused on developing the health and wellness, changing the health and wellness habits of Black and Brown communities across the world. But the goal of this podcast is obviously to focus a little bit more on the business side and give y'all some tips. So, today, I'm your host, Chef Smoove, in case y'all didn't know. Today, I'm joined by somebody who I consider a close friend, a mentor, also my sister, and I'm pleased to have Ebony, who is the owner of Nourished, to come in and talk to us today about everything self-care, her journey with her self-care and her self-care business. And really, hopefully, to give y'all some gems in regards to those things and how you can help develop your self-care routines, change your self-care routines, and really the importance of self-care. So without further ado, Ebony, how are you doing today?
I am great. That was a fabulous intro. I love it. But I'm doing really well. I'm about to start my self-care routine after we get off live. So on my last fumes, but just enough to do this interview. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first question is just tell everybody about how Nourish started, how it came about, how you decided to develop into the business, everything that you're willing to share with us about your journey to bringing Nourish to fruition. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So I went to a predominantly white institute, PWI, and with it being a private school, there wasn't a lot of, how can I say, beauty supplies, just what we need as Black women to keep ourselves more polished, I say, the way that we like to. Our hair oiled, our products looking really nice on our skin, and because it was low Black, just African American cultural, anything of resources, I decided to make my own products for my hair. It's wrapped up now, but I am a natural hair girly, curly hair more so. I had relaxers growing up, but when I went to college, I changed how I just wanted to approach hair. So it was natural, and then I ended up growing locks, and I've been through a few stages of cutting and starting hair or experimenting, and either way, I saw that I wasn't taking care of my scalp, my hair texture, the new way that I found out about it. So I'd made my products in my dorm room, heating them up in the microwave, like in a bowl, in between classes and stuff, just to give myself like a little bit of time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found that I did that, I started creating other products like body butters, which is still on my site. Body butters, I made, just experimented with different products to give myself some good time in a dorm that is just not homey at all. There's no bathtub, so you're just creating with what you have. I'm also a working woman, so on the go and just vibing through life. Like there was no real time, but with what time that was had, I was like, let me make something that is gonna fuel myself again. So I graduated, and I thought that was the end of the journey. And a lot of people that were buying these $5 hair oils or $5 jars of body butter from me were like, "Are you still going?" And I was like, "No, like we're done here." And I realized that people still needed it in the real world. So I gotta get comfortable. Comfort is key.
Yeah.
One of the gems. But as I was creating these products, I still had a few lingering clients, so they encouraged me to just make a website. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through the process of not really knowing what I wanted to make. I just knew that what I made was good. So there was the only identity that was in my brand was me. Whatever I was experiencing, I made it. If I was experiencing dry skin, I made butters that would help with dry skin. If I made hair oils, because I was going through my own hair oil journey, like I just made products as I identify with myself along the way. So by the time that it came to make a website and form a name, I was struggling with the name. I was just talking to another entrepreneur friend, like finding the name is not the most important thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Not in general, but to me, it really wasn't. It was like, it's not just the name. I'm trying to find the feeling. So I went through like a stage of names, and either way, I just felt more comfortable to have a feeling. Like, I want you to feel like this when you put this on, when you take time for yourself. And I even thought about like rejuvenated, but I was like, no, I want to feel nourished. And that's how that came about. Like, I just wanted to describe the feeling that I was going for, and however that could pass through, it's a just journey of just finding your voice. So once I found the name, I felt more comfortable to do pop-ups and just brand myself as that. I'm also a massage therapist. For those that don't know, I'm licensed massage therapy and migraine and stretching, releasing of fascia. So I figured I could make products that would tie together self-care in general, considering that I work on bodies and just teaching people how to take care of themselves at the same time. So that's my journey wrapped up.
Yeah.
It's been, but in the consensus, that's it.
So the first thing I want to ask you to spark my interest is also, before I go into this, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask me or Ebony, please put them in either the comment section and we'll get to them, or you can hit that little question bubble on the side and leave them there. So my first question for you is, when it came to developing your products, when did you know that you actually had something that was a hit? Did you go through a trial and error phase, or kind of what was that process like of formulating the quote unquote perfect product for Nourished?
My first product was Elite Oil. Actually, this is my corner, and I have like a little bottle over here just like for me. But Elite Oil was my first product that made me feel I was getting results from other people.
Mm.
I used it for myself, but I was like, maybe only my hair grows this fast. Maybe I'm the only person that cares. But when other people's like, hey, like, I see the results that you have going on. Can you make me a bottle? And after, it wasn't even making a bottle. They would use the things that I had already. And I would just be like, I'll make your own. And once they started coming back saying that, like, my curls, 4C hair is typically the hair that I have. And so I make products around that.
Mm-hmm.
But the tight hair on the go, I want to just moisturize and make it very nice and shiny and work. Like, those experiences let me know that it was good, because it was already good enough for me. But once other people say it, it kind of gave me a guide of like, oh, okay. It's not that you can't make your business from you and you only. It's just the reception is important. You don't buy your own products, so someone needs to like it. But also the message that how simple was it? Did it grow fast? Did it grow right away? Did it remind you that you don't do this often and you should? Like, that's the vibe that was just coming back. And I use that as reviews for everything after a while. It's like, what's the basics? So when I made that hair oil, everything else just took off from there.
Right. And so then, with the hair oil being kind of the product that started it all, what would you say was your process of like branching out? I know sometimes it can be kind of difficult and scary, where it's like if you have your lane, which is the hair oil, but you said that you did body butters and things of that nature. So what was the branching out process like for you, and did you experience any type of, issues with that?
I did. And sometimes I still do, only because there's like hair and then there's skin. So when
Yeah.
I nourished is nourished for hair and body. I
Mm-hmm.
make a general name, but nourished is the go-to. But I even had to specify myself, because hair is only going to go so far, and I go off with myself. So when I was creating this, how can I say, when I was creating this like motion of what products I do and don't want to make, because handmade is also another topic that can get a little tricky.
Yes.
Not stating anybody that use chemicals, it's just to use natural products for the realm that I was going in, there wasn't that much direction with chemicals anyway. So making products for skin was the next thing that I was dealing with. I already kind of mastered the hair situation, but I'm like, I have dry skin. Why can't I do both? And I didn't want to limit myself by just saying nourished hair oil or hair anything, lock anything, afro anything. So I just made it general. And I find myself struggling sometimes, but the overall message is that's the product to use to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is so the identity of that, I have to grow into that, and I can kind of take my products with me. Some of products I've had, they've only been seasonal. And some of them is like, oh, I like this, and I feel that other people who need a one-stop shop of self-care, they can come here. So
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And so kind of switching gears a little bit, but you've talked about self-care quite a few times, and it's the center of your brand. And so I was just curious, I'm pretty sure everybody else is curious, what does your self-care routine look like?
Oh man. First is seasonal. So
Okay.
right now it's it's not always just by product, but I take care of my skin. Certain products of cleansers I don't make, but my body butters, my like chapsticks, like the simple things is what I like to go.
Yeah.
And my self-care routine now involves laughter or music to set my inside tone to be upright so I can actual routine. Because sometimes I have it like a bath, but right now I'm in like really bath modes or shower modes. So a simple bath, something light, makes my energy light, makes me a little joyous. Fruits, livening the skin from inside out. Stretching is a big deal for me, not only just because of what I do, but so much lactic acid can sit in your muscles and also your facial muscles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So when it sits like that and you haven't had the time to massage or just cleanse yourself, it will sit and stay there, and it will make it a little bit difficult as you get older, aging in general with like wrinkles and stuff. And we don't need those problems.
Yeah,
So
fact.
my routine has like just being upbeat, being laughter while I'm taking care of myself. I don't put any restrictions on. So if I change my mind and I want to listen to a book, I'll do that. If I want to spend more time on what products make me feel good, I'll do that. Scents, smells, no smells. So right now it's going through a winterizing stage. This is hibernating season. I don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Spring, it's probably going to change again. And I like that. It just doesn't leave me in a rigid box.
I think that there's a couple of things there that I really want people to take away. That self-care is only as complicated as you make it could be. It can really be super simple, as Ebony has mentioned. So when you're developing your self-care routine, definitely keep that in mind, that it doesn't have to be anything that's crazy extensive. Because I can get into mine, but I'm going to save that for later. It's important to me, right? But everybody doesn't have to have the self-care routine that I have. You could do something like Ebony or something in between. And so I guess then my question for you, kind of shifting back, is how did you know which style was kind of right for you when you were developing your self-care routine? Like, you know what, maybe I just need to fluctuate based off the seasons. I'm going to keep it simple. What was your journey like with that?
I watched people that already seemed like they had it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed what I didn't want to do.
Okay.
Like knowing what you don't want to do is half the battle with most things. Like it's a guideline in a way. So I knew I didn't want to force it. I knew that whatever self-care culturally may be different than what I may see on social media. My time is different all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of played a part of like how much time do I really give myself and how much time I've given to others that I don't even match for myself. Should I up it? Should I lower it so I can reach out, a little bit more? So it kind of just made it a little easier to how I specifically.
And with, managing, you said that you work in massage therapy, full time. Also, you do this business full time. How do you, some people are probably going to be curious about this, how do you manage your self-care routine as well as working, and how does that fit in on a day-to-day routine for you?
It's a challenge right now. it's a challenge because I'm trying to also massage nationally,
Mhm.
and going across different states have different self-care in its own. Traveling is a different
It
self-care, as
is,
you know, than staying.
y'all.
Yeah. So it's real hard. So by the time that I'm looking out for balance, I should say, I haven't quite found it, but I have a nice sweet spot. So when I notice that I've been interacting with people on a daily basis, which is massage therapy, like you rubbing people
Yeah.
most of, but you're also taking on their problems, then if it's a heavy day, I just times two my self-care when I get back home. Like I disconnect so that I can reconnect with myself. And
Right.
it's on a daily basis. So I don't have a particular formula just yet. I'm working on it because I want to be able to be just consistent across the board. But for now, as much as I outpour, I make sure I find ways to pour back in. And it may not all work the same way. A movie may not cut it as much as prayer.
Yeah.
I adjust every day of what makes me feel more comfortable. That
I
makes
think also a key there too is like as you develop on your journey, you're gonna know what your body needs or your mind needs in order to relax and recharge and refuel itself. But it's important to start the habits now.
mm-hmm.
Um, get to that point where you're able to be in tune with your body and listen. And so that's going to lead me into my next question that I want to ask you is like any specific advice that you may have for people who are trying to start their self-care routines, any type of words of encouragement, any gems that you'd like to leave for them.
Yeah. Well, I think the top thing I'll say is gain some awareness, know your levels.
Mm-hmm.
So some days my levels may be at a 60%, and that 60% is all I have. And I don't go above that to max myself out. I experience burnout a little often because I'm burning multiple candles at a time, but I don't try to burn them all in one day. It's just over a course of time. I'll say notice what self-care is to you, meaning you do not have the if you do not have the space, find the time. And if you do not have the time, make an exit plan. What I mean by that is if you do not have the space, meaning you don't think you have the luxurious bathrooms and hotels and stuff like that, what can you do in your bathroom? You do not have to vacate outside of your home.
Yeah.
But if you had to, what would you do at that time? So these are pillars more importantly for me than a, how can I say, like bath and the aesthetically pleasing of social media. It's really what makes you feel just better times 10. And for those of us that have different mental awarenesses, it just lets me know something. I deal with anxiety and ADHD on a often basis, so I have to know what overstimulated is and how to bring that back down. And for me, that may be paying attention to a nice head massage or going to get a massage and getting pampered myself. And that pampering is not always just a luxury. Sometimes it's a necessity for people. So
Yeah.
those are the pillars that I would say the most. Awareness, those awarenesses create self-confidence in small areas, which after a while becomes big confidence, you know? So those are the pillars that I would say.
Awesome. And I'm glad that you highlighted that because I'm going to just take a second too. It's just like find that thing, like Ebony said, that you can build off of that makes you feel good. I know for me, so and I'm gonna just tell you guys a little bit about my routine. For me, it's like exercise. Exercise is what makes me feel good. It's just what makes me feel rejuvenated and makes me feel ready to tackle my day. So every morning I get up, I pray, I do yoga, I do some core work, I do some pull-ups and push-ups, I meditate, and then I listen. I also like frequencies. Like I don't know if y'all can hear it in the background, but listening to frequencies helps me calm down, helps me relax, helps me bring everything back to the center, so I can start my day in a calm state. And also not looking at my phone for the first hour of the day, first hour, hour and a half of the day, and the last hour of the day, just to give my mind the space to just be clear and not really be focused on distractions, but just really get in tune to transitioning from one state of the day to another. And so some of those things are like really critical. So I build my routine based off of exercise. For other people, it could be, massage, baths, whatever the case may be. And then also, just a quick tip for Ebony talked about at the end, if you go out to get massages or whatever kind of self-care therapy works for you, If you're having trouble budgeting that, I actually just recently read a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And it talks about putting 5%, 3 to 5% of your income away specifically just to blow on what things make you happy and enjoy life. Obviously, you still want to be fiscally responsible, save, invest, make sure your bills are paid, and all that stuff. But having that set budget of 3 to 5% of your take-home pay to utilize just to do whatever self-care you feel like you need to do is definitely critical.
Yeah.
So definitely wanted to throw that out there for anybody who may be struggling, trying to figure out how to balance the two.
That is a dope tip.
I had to throw it out there, had to plug it, because I just started implementing it this year myself, and I'm about to start tomorrow actually with not just implementing it, because like I saved the money, now I'm actually going to go use it.
Oh, wow.
So as mindful, just put in the chat, balance is key.
Balance is
key to everything. And kind of shifting gears a little bit, I want to talk a little bit more about your entrepreneurship journey. And I want to ask a specific question because I don't think I've asked this one before, but how do you feel like your brand has changed you since you started your journey?
Oh, man. Well, I'm mindful. Like, how can I say? My private self and my brand self, it's not that they're two different people. They just operate on two different times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made me very like mindful about how I spend my time, how much time I put into me, how much time I take away. It's made me more comfortable and confident within myself of how I see my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't imagine my life looking the way that it does, but it boosts that confidence because it's shown like by the labor that I've done. And being consistent about it all the time has not always happened, but it's been a pillar that reminds me, like, you created this, therefore you can take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take care of. That never happens. Like, if you created it, you're capable of doing it. So just make the comfortable time to do so. And that feels really good. And because it feels good, it's helped me keep businesses going. And as I take time to myself, it kind of just reflects in my businesses. Getting the language across probably has to be the biggest like learning curve right now, which is like, how do I get across that I don't just sell hair and body butters. Now it's a whole new message, but I haven't had a thought process about that back then, but now I do. So because I grew and it's growing with me, now I have to get the message out there. And I think it's somewhat clear, but it's not fully meshed the way that I would like it.
Mm-hmm.
So really get there. I'm excited. This year is the year that I'm gonna make that blend between the two. And I'm excited.
I'm actually for you because I think it's also very difficult to figure out how we can articulate what we do. It's something a lot in our businesses, and trying to get it down to like a sentence or two to really get the message across is very difficult.
Yeah.
With that, and talking about your growth with your business, what are some pitfalls that you feel like you've had along the journey that you learned from, that you feel like maybe somebody else could benefit from?
Tips. Research is large and small. So even if, say you're ready for your restaurant, even if the restaurant isn't physical building ready, your menu creation, the color that you want the menu to be, that's still research. So research big or small. Take your time and know that time doesn't wait for you, but if you force it, it's not going to mold together the way that you need. And the last tip is to just really just collaborate and network. That helped me because I thought because I created something based off of me, no one would, and that can kind of heighten your confidence or lower it. And for me, it just kind of made me I don't know exactly how to do it, but I've networked more than I thought. So that's the biggest tip that helped me like in continuum, like keep networking, keep connecting, keep collaborating. Last year, me and a business partner did a quick trial of like self-care boxes between our two brands. And it was a learning experience, and we're excited to do it again. Last year had so many different moving parts of like, how can we do this? But now that we've experienced it, I'm excited more to like really see how that can form out to collaborate with other people that are in the same message that you are in.
Yes,
So
key. And I really want to touch on that. It's a couple of things that you said in there, but first I'm gonna start with the collaboration. What are some of the biggest tips that you would give somebody when they're trying to collaborate, as far as your approach and things to look out for when you're trying to bring two together into one?
I've asked what is the communication style,
Okay.
so that if I feel like I'm adaptable, some things I just let them know, like I may not be that tech savvy, but I am willing to do verbal. So I let them know what communication style is and their communication style, so we can meet in the middle. Otherwise, it's going to be I communicate like this and you communicate like that, and there's no synergy. There's nothing is harmonious with what you're really trying to get out. So as I'm approaching to collab with someone, even if it's for an idea, we talk and talk and talk, and communication is key. Yes, like the communication that happens, we form our own language in that process, and that sparks off other things to block from, in my opinion. So, um, just thinking about how they are as a person, that comes first to me, and what they do with their business is an extension of that. So I give the utmost personal space first, and then we go into business.
And so when you're looking at these potential business partners, what are some key qualities that you look for in order to say, okay, this is somebody that I'd like to do business with, or this isn't somebody that I would like to do business with?
Not is if I wouldn't say if your message doesn't align at all, but if we are not, like, I'm not willing to put myself out there for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Love to do a cooking collab, but that's also not my full thing. So it's like, it's not neat. Like, if it's not pushing someone else to their next piece that's going to help them, like, we may help each other, but if we are not helping someone else, it's pointless. So the no's is just like kind of we're just not aligned. But the yes is how they care about their business, how they care about themselves while they're in their business. I've had business opportunities with people that also doesn't know how to take breaks. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no deadline, there's no cutoff. And that was kind of dangerous for me because I have my own stuff going on. So then it's always it. So it just ended up being this was a great idea, but maybe not. And by the time that I do want to collab, it's conversations. I see in observation, really. I see how they live. I see how they move. They see how I live. They see how I move. And it made it a little bit easier to add on ideas. It's just not a fixed thing. Like, we can create something together. That's how we feel.
I agree, Steve. One of the big things I look for is just like I don't bring anybody on here on the channel that I don't personally subscribe to or believe that we're on some type of alignment with our beliefs around certain topics that we talk about. And
Yeah.
so that's really the key thing for me is just also don't somebody that you should bring into your business if you're going to collaborate is going to still be a reflection of you. The work that they do is going to be a reflection of you as well. So you want to make sure that you're aligned with somebody whose work that you're proud to stand behind and be like, yeah, I'm glad that I'm partnered with them or I'm collaborating with them because I stand behind what they do, what their message is, and whatever their potential product or service is. So it's very important. I want to touch back on something that you brought up earlier about networking. That
Mm.
can be the most difficult things for us to try and navigate to do. I was curious if you had any resources or anything that you utilized when you were going through your journey and still are going through your journey about how to network and build your business network.
I also do activities. So some people I met on a 1-2 time basis, but then we do an activity or go to some type of class, fitness class or whatever together. And during that, we have made a closer bond, if you will. So it kind of just goes into we not only did business, we also were able to do yoga together, but we can all full circle back around the business. It kind of just, it gives enough personal space with also some boundaries because you're outside. Um,
Yeah,
Also, I would say to have an interaction without it just being you two. So liking, posting, sharing,
facts.
it lets me know that you support what I do and I support what you do because that's why we're communicating
Mm-hmm.
in the first. So that helps it grow a little bit more. And I feel like the more you're able to do the small things, the bigger things come along the way. and you're exercising boundaries along the way. So it's not overbearing either. Like no one wants to feel like they're bulldozed into relationships.
Yeah.
New. It's like, I don't come here for this. But gentleness, it makes it a practice after a while. So I like.
Was there any specific, say, like, did you use Eventbrite, LinkedIn, or anything like that to be able to get into these spaces to network, or was it just kind of, somebody said, hey, I know this person, like, y'all should get together? Just curious about what your experience was like with that.
Eventbrite, me go on Eventbrite. I think I've done that like twice, but it was for a like a art show or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like on this, and I would send it to the people that I don't have that much like conversations. Like I want to get to know them a little more. Like, hey, I saw this. I remember briefly we talked about this, and people remember how you connected with them whenever you like the fact that we had a small conversation. You mentioned art. I saw this art exhibit. Generally, I would invite anyone, but I also want to extend the invite to you if this is an interest of you to come out, and then while you're there, you make enough conversation. Or it has been people of people. I'm a word of like people connecting to people is amazing. I would say when I've done events, getting myself out there out of my bubble of pop-ups, because I was a pop-up queen. I was doing pop-ups like every quarter when I first started. And I think doing the pop-ups helped people get to know me in person, like in real life and not just social media. And that helped a lot for both of us, for me to get confident in what I'm saying, and in the reverse, like them get comfortable with me.
And so when it comes to pop-ups, because that's something that I don't really have any experience with, how would you get into those doors of being invited to pop-ups, or just kind of like what has been your experience with dealing with pop-ups and navigating that space?
I would tell the people to, it's all going back to network, but if they're a community, you have to know what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with community. So I reach out to people who have programs or organizations in community and just ask them if they have any events, and they ask me if I want to be a vendor. I look at pop-up flyers, me and other business, more so cosmetic product, not service. Massage, I would never do pop-up for, but I have done my pop-up service for people.
Right.
Never host one like that, but going to sell products, it's something that's like, if you and even another business owner, like, hey, let's do this together, because we're both getting ourselves out there, and it may be a little scary to do it by yourself. The first one that I did, it was amazing. The second one I did, amazing. The third one that I did, I was like, and I would give this advice to anyone, test out your strengths as you go. The first time was for me to even put my business out there. The second time was like me putting myself out there, but I've made extra products now.
Mm-hmm.
The third one was like, let me go somewhere that I don't know anyone and see how they resonate with me and my message. And that had to have been the scariest one, because it was a crowd that I didn't know. The age range, usually you know your niche, it's like teenagers, but it's products. So I'm like, I don't have a age really like, and it was these older people, and older people don't tell you about yourself. Like, no, that ain't, they're going to smell it. Mm-mm. And I was so nervous, but I was like, I want to see how they resonate with me, and they don't know me. And they could trace themselves, chose to, like, it's a choice versus someone knows you and then they support you naturally. So once I got past that, I was like, oh, I got something. Like, I'm online now, like, it's cool. So the pop-up journey, I'll encourage anyone to do what is comfortable and uncomfortable but safe. And I would also say take different products as you go, so that always take a staple. Elite oil will always be my staple, but I should, like, how does people in person resonate with this? I have samples. Try this, no cost. It's a free sample. You done oiled your hands up for free at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm not stingy with it. Like, I really want to be comfortable for people to know that they can touch, feel it's a real product by a real person. So
That's what sounds. And so I have one final question I'm going to ask you, but before I ask it, I'm going to just remind everybody, if you have any questions for myself and or Ebony, please put them in either the comment section, or you can hit that little icon with the question in the bubble, and you can leave your questions there, and I'll get to them after this. But my final question for you is, I want to just really, if somebody out there is just starting their business from day one, give me 3 solid gems that you would give them for helping them along their journey with getting started off, or even just along the journey that they may encounter.
Okay. First one, I'll say, do something that you can look at even when you don't feel like it. So if you only like purple for one day and you like orange the next, figure out something to balance the two, because the last thing you would not like is you working on something and you are sick of looking at it. Like it's annoying. And then the annoying vibes come out a little weird. Your emails start sounding like you don't even want to be here. Like, one thing if like you're trying to figure it out versus like, like I'm over this. But I said I was gonna do it, so So I say create something, color it down to the color scheme, whatever, that you can constantly look at and you're not uncomfortable. The second gem would be, not can you do it in your sleep, but if you were not getting sleep and you were not getting the things you need back right away. Like if you are looking for instant gratification, take that ego out, replace it with humbleness, and just really try to find your way step by step. The font that I like, the email subscription I want to use to communicate with people. Do I want to be a photo shoot type? Is this a handmade selfie? So that plays a big role after a while. It's a carrier along the way. And the third thing that I would say is to enjoy it. Have fun, create fun, and have fun. For me, when I'm about to make products, I have a playlist. I have my with a little lavender, lemongrass, whatever. I set the scene. Like I really make it a thing. I got snacks. I got a little water container. I have everything already set out and labeled, but this is a self party at this point. And it's going to come out really good. And if I don't like it, it's not going out. So now I have to recreate, but it gives me time to myself. I said one day I was going to do a live and do a party jam while I'm making products, but it's kind of hard to like show without showing. But just enjoy it and know that it's going to have its phases. And I have to do this like 3.5. 0.5 is talk to people who are doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's difficult, even if it's not all the same way. Like I have some friends that do product based. Some people are service, some people are speakers. But find other people that are also taking this entrepreneurial journey with you. My father is a big deal. My mom has a self-made mind, and it's just talking to people who make their way. It has a huge, huge impact on how you communicate with yourself when you're feeling down. If they help you leaning on people, like I'm struggling with this idea, or I want to talk this through, can you brainstorm? Bouncing off books, like it's all important. So we'll do slide 4, but that's to talk to other people who are doing what you're doing.
That's perfect. I appreciate that so much. There was a lot of game in that, y'all. I hope that y'all picked up on it. And I'm going to just add one big one that my spirit is just moving me to say. It's just, don't sell yourself short. Think big. Speak it into existence. I think a lot of times, and even I'm a faith-based person. So for me, myself and everybody that's here on this earth, we're all reflections of God. And we have some of that same power and authority in us on a smaller scale. So just how God was able to speak and we have that same authority to do in our life and in our businesses. We speak what we want to come to fruition, and it will come to pass. So definitely don't sell yourself short. Really focus on trying to change your thought patterns and your mindset to just really think big and think positive, because what you think and what you focus on is what's going to expand in your life. So if you focus on the negative, that's going to shrink your business. If you focus on positive and you focus on thinking big, adding value, that's going to expand in your business, and it will take you to areas that you'll never even imagine. Even if you're not there yet, you have to envision yourself in it. So that's going to be my one gem that I'm going to leave y'all, because Ebony already gave y'all so much game, and y'all hear from me enough on my gems. But we do have a question in the chat. So what are some songs and or artists on your self-care and your motivation playlist?
Oh, man. First song is I'm sorry. This is funny. The first song, well, I go by artist. I wouldn't even say song. I tell the artist, Alexa, Siri, somebody, play art. Like I just name an artist out there. First, I start with gospel. So I start with gospel. It sets the tone, gets me, like you just said, like it puts the confidence back in me. So I may put on Kirk, I may put on Fred, may put on Jonathan McReynolds, who knows. After that, it gets real trappy, and we're gonna stop, and then we're gonna move into. I don't know why I play these, like I don't know, but I don't know. I put on just things that make me feel that day. I don't have a playlist. Gospel's always first, like the genre wise, it's always first. But as far as the songs, I just do that vibe. Like I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling the early 2000s R&B mix. For sure, Beyonce. I would say that. I'll take it back. Beyonce is also probably second. I don't know why. I feel bad. It would be like, it's God and Beyonce. It's not like that, but it just gives me woman feminism. I could do this vibes.
Yeah.
Into that gangster rap. And that's for the products that y'all get. That's the recipe in the background.
Right there. And I even throw in mind, like, so it just depends on what type of task that I'm doing. If I'm cooking, if I'm doing something that's cooking related, I'm going to have on smooth 90s R&B, early 2000s R&B, or like relaxed Afro beats. So nothing like too uphype, but just something that really calms and mellows me out. If I'm doing work on the computer where it's like maybe I'm creating a draft for a new book or figuring out, you know, kind of just planning and strategizing, I might listen to Nipsey Hussle. I'm a huge fan listening to Nipsey Hussle when I'm in it. And what you say?
So you're going to put on Victory Lap. I think that's the first Nip song I put on. I'll be like, let's get these trumpets in here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Get really right. And then if I'm doing research and studying, then I'm going to have all my frequencies or about to speak, because it just calms me, relaxes me, it just allows my mind to get in that mode of focusing and locking. So that's definitely what's on my playlist.
I hear that. That's a good playlist.
Ebony, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. It has truly been a pleasure, as always, but I'm going to leave the floor open to you to just let everybody know what you have going on, where they can find you, where they connect with you. The floor is yours to share whatever you'd like.
Thank you. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, first of all. I am really getting back into my social media bag, so be patient with me. But on everything is Nourished HB, like Nourished past tense, .eb. Pretty sure my name's tagged in here. My YouTube channel will be coming. My TikTok will be evolving very soon. Same tags, Nourished HB. Nourished EB. I feel a little bit more comfortable sharing this ahead of time, but I have my massage pop-ups happening in Phoenix, Arizona. If anyone's out there in Phoenix, I'll be doing that a few more times this year. And I also have my products in a store, beauty supply, beautiful beauty supply, black owned, Sister Beauty in Austin, Texas. And I also have my products in Phoenix, Arizona, and Precision's Barber Hair Salon. I have a lot of things to create because I'm working on merging massage and Nourish together. So just look out on my socials for that and see how it turns around, because I can't wait to show you guys. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I've used some of my products as I massage. That's the goal, to start forming them to two. So just be on the lookout for that. And yeah.
Oh, perfect. And so I guess, just before we hop off, I'm going to just give some quick housekeeping items first. Yes, Miss Prosperity One is definitely important that we are a blessing. That's why I talk about adding value. Adding value is being a blessing to others. And that's what happens when you give it. The more you give, the more you receive. It's important to know how to give, but it's also very important to know how to receive too. So that's them right there. But on this end, if you guys like the episode, please like, share. Will be reposted on here. It will also be on my YouTube channel at same username. It's also going to be available at For the Soul Podcast on Apple and Spotify podcasts. So please like, share, subscribe, give a review, all those good things. As far as what I have going on, next week, y'all know, is the start of Black History Month. So I'm going to be dropping these crew necks. The first traditional will be the prize food from the Soul for the Soul. So the Soul Food crew necks will be available starting next Wednesday, February 1st. And throughout the whole month of February, everything will be 10% off on the website. I'm bringing the second cookbook back for the month of February. So if you missed out on that in December, it will be available in February. And since y'all all tuned in and it's been such a great episode, I'm gonna drop something that I haven't shared yet. But the third cookbook is actually done. So be on the lookout for announcements on the launch for that. It is going to be the first plant-based book, 100% plant-based book. So definitely excited to be sharing that and that message with you guys. But again, y'all, thank you, Ebony, for tuning in. Thank all of you in the audience for your love and support. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, Ebony. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.